True crime stories often involve unsolved mysteries where criminal investigations failed to identify the culprit in a crime. Many of these conundrums are riddled with secrets that have remained unsolved for years or even decades. And during the darkest moments of these investigations, even the best crime scene detectives often fear that these creepy mysteries may never be solved. Number 5. In 1977, Douglas Mueller was 19 years old and attending Scottsdale Community College in Arizona, where he became the subject of a scary story that still needs solving. The mystery began on the 15th of March. Douglas finished his night shift at Whiting Brothers gas station in Mesa, Arizona, and left for home around 9:30. He was reported as a missing person by his parents, Larry and Beverly, when he didn't make it home that night. Unfortunately for them, the darkest moments of this case were yet to come. A few days after his mysterious disappearance, Douglas's parents received an anonymous phone call, instructing them to travel to a payphone where instructions would be waiting for them. They immediately did so, and what they found upon their arrival caused them great concern. Taped to the inside of the phone booth were Douglas's driver's license and a note, seemingly written in Douglas's handwriting, demanding a ransom of $50,000 for his release to be dropped off at a specific location. The note also stated that if they didn't comply with the demand, Douglas's life would be ended. The couple gathered the requested amount and dropped the money off at the prearranged spot, but no one ever arrived to collect the ransom. But the unsolved mystery only deepened as a further 3 frightening phone calls were made to Douglas's parents, with a new drop-off point being requested each time. The money was never collected, and Douglas remained missing. A short while later, investigators located Douglas's car at the Phoenix airport, but despite a thorough search for more clues, no further leads were found in the vehicle. Douglas's case went unsolved until the 23rd of September, 2007, when a single bone was found in the Los Portones area of Scottsdale. Forensic analysis confirmed that it belonged to Douglas, and the abduction case was upgraded to one of homicide. But despite further criminal investigations, no further evidence was ever found, and no suspects were identified, leaving Douglas's scary story to remain an unsolved mystery. Number 4. In 1966, 64-year-old Abe Libwall was locally famous for owning 2nd Avenue Deli, the best deli in the east side of New York. But in March of that year, Abe would become the focus of a criminal investigation that needs solving. On the morning of Monday, the 4th of March, Abe traveled to the National West Bank located at 2nd Avenue and 4th Street, where he planned to deposit the money he had made over the weekend. But as he exited his van, he was confronted by 2 men who pushed him back inside of the vehicle. One of them aimed at Abe and got him 3 times. They then jumped into the van and fled the crime scene at high speed before abandoning the vehicle a short distance away on 1st Avenue. The culprits then fled on foot after taking Abe's shoulder bag containing $10,000. Abe managed to exit the van but passed away at the crime scene. A pedestrian noticed Abe next to the van and, thinking he was having medical problems, managed to flag down a passing police officer. But it was too late to save him. During the investigation, several witnesses came forward, and a criminal sketch was made of the 2 robbers. The following day, Abe's shoulder bag was found on East 25th Street, and the day after that, his missing wallet was located at East 30th Street and Madison Avenue inside a dump truck. When the weapon was located on the 7th of March, it was found in connection with 2 other unsolved cases in Elmsford and in the Bronx. Abe's brother Jack believes that the criminals never intended to end Abe's life, but they became angry when they discovered that there was less money in the bag than they expected. People also wonder if someone had knowledge of Abe's routine and tipped off the robbers. Investigators did state in 2010 that they were looking at a few people of interest, but no further leads in the case and no suspects have ever been formally identified. A $150,000 reward is now being offered for any information that leads to this unsolved mystery getting solved. You can contact NYPD Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-8477. Number 3. On the 1st of December 1971, 34-year-old Robert Gears and 30-year-old Robert Henson failed to show up for work. Their mysterious disappearances remain two creepy mysteries that may never be solved. The men's co-workers made repeated calls to their house, and that afternoon, one of their colleagues decided to stop in at the house to check on them. Instead, he found a crime scene that left him shocked. He contacted the police, and inside, the bodies of Gears and Henson were found along with the body of one of their friends, 27-year-old James Barker. Gears was found in the house's back room, Henson in the front room, and Barker was in one of the bathrooms. At first, investigators were unable to find a criminal motive at the scene, and the case went cold. But they soon identified a suspect, a man named Ted Euland, who had taken out life insurance policies on both Henson and Garland, but he was never charged before passing away. Another criminal suspect was identified in the 1990s after the ex-wife of a man named Carol Horton was seen crying outside of the crime scene. Horton was formally charged with the crime, but he was soon released due to a lack of evidence. Then, in 2000, investigators received a note written by a man called Fred Harbison, in which he stated that he had been hired by Euland. The criminal confession was discovered by Harbison's daughter, but he had already passed away by the time that investigators received the note. The confession went on to claim that Euland wanted to have the two men done away with because they were ruining his business, and Harbison claimed he was never paid for carrying out the crime. But no further evidence was ever found to confirm the claims made in the letter. Since there were no further leads to follow up on, and all of the suspects had passed away, the unsolved case of the LaSalle Street murders remains little more than a creepy unsolved mystery that may very well never be solved. Number 2. In 1961, Betty Gail Brown was a 19-year-old student attending Transylvania University in Lexington, Kentucky, when her life ended without explanation. The mystery occurred on the 26th of October. Betty had just finished attending a biology lecture at the Forer Hall. It seemed like every other normal day, but the next morning, Betty was found in the driver's side of her car. Her bra was around her neck. Investigators were at a loss as to who may have committed the crime, as Betty was well liked on campus and had no enemies. Police interviewed every male student on campus along with all of the university's faculty members, but they were unable to find any further leads in their criminal investigation. The unsolved case went cold for 4 years until a man named Alex Arnold, a drifter in the area, made a shocking criminal confession after being detained for public intoxication. Arnold had chanced upon Betty while she sat in a car with a friend. They started swearing and yelling at him after he asked for a lighter, so he attacked. Betty's friend ran out of the car, but Betty did not get away. But he soon recanted his scary story, claiming that he was going through withdrawals and was not in his right state of mind. Arnold's trial ended in a hung jury, and he was set free due to a lack of evidence. In the 1980s, Nolan Ray George, a serial killer in Ohio, Kentucky, and Michigan, became a suspect in Betty's unsolved case because his methods were in line with how Betty was found. He would have been 18 at the time. As the criminal investigation progressed, it became ever more unlikely that George was the one responsible for ending Betty's life, and he was never questioned or formally charged with the crime. Betty's scary mystery has never been solved, and since most of the evidence from the crime scene has either been lost or destroyed, there isn't much hope that the true culprit will ever be identified. Number 1. Between 1978 and 1987, the Connecticut River Valley area was gripped by a scary mystery when a serial killer ended several lives, and their identity remains a creepy mystery that may never be solved. 27-year-old Kathy Milliken was a great ornithologist. On the 24th of October, 1978, she traveled to New London's Chandler Brook wetland, where she planned to photograph birds, but her body was found the next day. 37-year-old Mary Critchley was a college student in Massachusetts, hitchhiking home to Vermont in July of 1981. 2 weeks after her mysterious disappearance, the body of Mary was found in Unity, New Hampshire, about 80 miles from the turnpike. In April of 1984, the remains of a nurse's aide, Bernice Courtmanche, were found in Newport, New Hampshire. She was last seen as she headed out from her home in West Claremont on the 30th of May to visit her boyfriend, and it's believed that she too attempted to hitchhike there. Her life was ended in a similar manner to Kathy Milliken's. On the 22nd of July, 1984, Ellen Freed, a 22-year-old nurse from Claremont, made a call to her sister to inform her that she was suspicious of a car that kept passing by the parking lot from where she was calling. Before hanging up, she asked her sisters to stay on the line while she started her car, and once she had done so, she said goodbye and ended the call. In September of the following year, her remains were discovered by hikers in the Sugar River area. In 1986, 36-year-old Linda Moore was found on the 15th of April in her home after an intruder had gained access. A witness told investigators that he had seen a strange man in Linda's driveway who remains unknown. In 1987, 39-year-old Barbara Agnew was found under an apple tree in March of 1987 by hikers in Vermont. No one has ever been named a suspect, and the Connecticut River Valley killer cases remain strangely unsolved. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.